Hey bookworms, Nikki here with Nikki Loves Books. I'm so excited to be doing a book review today, and I wanted to say thank you for all of you who hung out and were waiting on me to get back to these. I do apologize. Of course, part of it was first my health, and I wasn't feeling good, so it was really hard for me to get these videos out. And then sadly, with new medication that made me feel better, I did gain a little bit of weight, and I did get really self-conscious about getting back in front of the camera. Dealing with that, I'm really happy to be here. I didn't want my YouTube channel to ever be just about unboxing. The unboxing was supposed to be just something fun on the side, and obviously because I haven't been able to do my book reviews and book recaps, my channel has become an unboxing channel, and so I wanted to kind of be like, no, let's get back into the book reviews. I know that I'm not feeling as comfortable in front of the camera as I did at the beginning, but that's okay. Work in progress. I can get comfortable in my body again. My goal is to start getting out a video every 2 weeks. That is the goal. Again, I do work full time. I have responsibilities at home, and then I do have an autoimmune disease. That autoimmune disease does tend to flare up more in the summer than the winter, so I'm kind of hoping that once it starts cooling down, my health is not going to be as big as a factor of whether I can get these videos done or not. So, September 1st, it's still hot as hell where I'm at. Like, it's supposed to be like 110 degrees this weekend, which is ridiculous. However, I'm like, September technically is the beginning of autumn, starting September 22nd. So my fingers crossed that we start actually getting cooler weather. I'm really hoping for that. But I digress. Again, thank you so much for sticking it out and waiting for me to get back to my book reviews. As always, please remember that my book reviews are non-spoiler, so there will be no spoilers. Anything I reveal about the book, because obviously I have to say some things about it, will be stuff that you should be able to gather from the back of the book or the book flap, you know, that book summary. If you are new to my book reviews, know that I kind of do a compliment sandwich. So I do talk about some of the things I liked about it, and then possibly some of the things I didn't like about it. Even if I don't give a book 10 out of 10, sometimes I don't really feel the need to mention anything I didn't like. Sometimes there isn't anything for me to pinpoint. It's just, I only liked it 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. Not necessarily 10 out of 10, but I couldn't vocalize like that there was something necessarily wrong with the book. Just, I only found 7 or 8 things to like about it. And then I finish up with the last couple things that I liked about a book. So I'm like, again, compliment sandwich. My goal is not to actually trash talk anyone or demean or belittle them, because I haven't written a book, but if I did, I wouldn't want people trash talking it. It would make me very sad. If you have a different version of this book, if it looks different than mine, that is absolutely acceptable, and it's probably still the same book because I have the Owl Crate exclusive. So just know if you have the regular version, it is going to look different from this cover, and that is okay. This cover matches the Owl Crate version of the Bone Houses, which is set in the same world as this book, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later in this video. So let us get into it. I'm so excited that we get to talk about the Owl Crate book from last month. So The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd-Jones was the Owl Crate book for August 2022. And that is the book review we got today. I devoured this book pretty quickly, which is a good sign because that usually means I liked it. The Drowned Woods is about a water diviner named Mare who has a very healthy, respectable fear of the ocean. It is untamable even to her, but she risks all for the sake of her freedom. So she teams up with a few allies, including a fake cursed man, a master spy, a princess of thieves, and a corgi, all to hunt down a treasure for the king that will hopefully cripple him and make them rich beyond their dreams so that she can stop being hunted and disappear forever. This simple heist turns deadly when she has to take on the very force that she knows she can't, the ocean. So I gave The Drowned Woods by Emily Lloyd-Jones an 8 out of 10 stars. So I really enjoyed this book, and like I said, I devoured it pretty quickly, so that's always a good indicator that I enjoyed a book. So let's get into the 8 things that I liked about this book. So first off, The Drowned Woods is a retelling of a Welsh myth. And I love that. I am actually a huge fan of retellings. Yes, I know that some of you are just like, oh, it's just, another version of the same story. Why can't we have original content? I think retellings still have worth. It's a great way to get new generations, new people educated about a myth. This is really helpful also when it comes to different cultures. Like, I've never heard about this Welsh myth before. And I'm so glad I read The Drowned Woods and that it introduced me to this myth, because I think it's a beautiful one. Like, I think it's really heartwarming, this simple myth about a boy and a girl meeting and what happens. I love Emily Lloyd-Jones' interpretation of it, because it makes it so much more fun and not necessarily like, oh, bad on this girl, like, I can't believe she did this. So I loved having this retelling. It was a lot of fun and very well executed. My second favorite thing about The Drowned Woods, and this kind of goes along with the retellings, because it's a very common theme in a lot of fairy tales that I think a lot of fantasy series kind of go around and forget about, and that is, most fairy tales have that undercurrent warning of be careful what you ask from the elven folk. Yeah, elves can bless you, but you best be careful what comes out of your mouth and what you ask for, because they can turn it into something that you don't want. So what you think is a blessing is actually not. It's more like a curse. And I do like having that nod to that old folklore and fairy tale, because that used to be the thing, is that elves were not just considered what we think of elves like from Tolkien, of these beautiful, wonderful humanoids that were immortal and, they had gifts and magic and they helped men. I sometimes like having those stories where it's the old folklores, where I'm like, it's the elves that, yeah, they're mischievous. They're up to no good. They don't necessarily like men and they enjoy fucking with them. So I liked that little aspect of The Drowned Woods, of having that folklore type elves of be careful what you wish for from them, because they will mess with you if they can. I thought it was a lot of fun to have a heist. So that is my third thing that I loved about The Drowned Woods. The main driving force in The Drowned Woods is the characters trying to get the king's treasure. And it's a lot of fun. I liked kind of the ragtag of characters thrown together to perform this heist. And Merlin's having crazy time right now, so if you hear little thump 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 thumps, that's Merlin running around, doing his thing, being a cat, living his best life. Love it. So, as I was saying though, the heist. I like the variants of characters that they kind of threw together. You have the master spy who is running things. You have a thief, which, duh, for a heist, but they weren't going to bring her, which I was like, but she's a thief. Like, what do you mean? Anyways, you have a young man who is fey curse / blessed, depending on who you ask. And then, of course, you have the main character, Mare, who's a water diviner. And most important character in this whole entire novel, the corgi. So I shit you not, there is literally a corgi that is in this band of would-be thieves who are out to get the king's treasure. This corgi is adorable. I'm like, corgis are adorable. Like, I'm like, I have not met a corgi that I was like, that is not adorable. So I'm like, there's an adorable character. Like, if nothing else, you will love the corgi. So, might as well. Just read the book. Enjoy it. So yes, so I love the heist aspect. It was a lot of fun seeing these characters work together to get to the treasure and to find out the reasons for being there. That's always interesting to me, is finding out the characters' motivations. And so having these different characters be involved with this heist and learning about them and their backstories really kind of pulled the story together and the world as a whole to kind of understand all the little pieces, because there are some politics that play into this. Number 4 of why I liked The Drowned Woods, and this should come to no surprise to anyone else who's watched my book reviews, is that there is a love story. I love love stories. I am obsessed with romance novels. I love a good love story. And I think a lot of us do, you know? Like, I'm just like, it's pretty standard. I'm not gonna lie, I sometimes get really disappointed in books when I'm expecting a love story and there's not. The Drowned Woods does have a love story, and this is going to get into an aspect of the book that I did not like, and that is it's very subtle. It's very subtle, and it was so well done still, you know, so it was still, for me, it was still believable. By the end, I was still like, okay, yeah, no, I totally understand that they liked each other, that they fell in love, and it was all good, but it was such a subtle undercurrent. So part of me was reading this book being like, oh my God, are they going to get together? Are they going to get to, oh, wait, are they going to get together? I was second guessing it constantly, just back and forth, where I was like, I think they like each, maybe, I don't know. I liked the love story, and then the fact that it did keep me on my toes, and I was kind of like, please end up together. I want you guys to get together. I want you to be together. Please. But that was one aspect I also didn't like. I didn't like how subtle it was. So the love story was one of the things that I loved about it, but it also was something that I didn't like about it, in the sense that it was so subtle. And I don't mind the author keeping me guessing about whether they were going to end up being together. It was more the fact that I would have loved to see a few more moments of them falling for each other. But that's just me. Like, again, I still think the love story was entirely believable. And like I said, you know, like, I wanted them to be together. There was moments that they had. It just wasn't in your face blatant. And I'm in your face blatant when it comes to love stories. Like, I want to feel it on a deep, deep level. And that is the only thing that I could say negative about The Drowned Woods. Other than that, I pretty much enjoyed it. I'm like, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Like, that's pretty damn good. That is it for my negatives for The Drowned Woods. Let us get back to number 5 of what I did like. And number 5 is actually Emily Lloyd-Jones' writing. So I have read a few books now by Emily Lloyd-Jones. I have read The Drowned Woods, obviously, that's what we're talking about, but I also read 2 other books by her, at the very least. Obviously, The Drowned Woods just came out, so this is her newest novel, and I can say that her writing has improved. One of the books that I read years ago from her, didn't rate it very high. Another book, which we'll be briefly talking about in this video, I also enjoyed, but didn't think the writing was super strong. In The Drowned Woods, I think her writing has really gotten a lot better. I think she's fantastic with describing some really pretty scenery. Again, not pulling you away from the story, not getting, you know, it's no Jane Eyre where it's like, let's talk for pages about the scenery. No, it's not that bad. She does a really good job of using words effectively, painting a picture in my brain, and moving the plot along. And I always appreciate that. And I just thought The Drowned Woods had some eloquent writing. So number 6 in what I liked about The Drowned Woods, again, should come to no surprise to other people who have watched my book reviews. This is a pretty common thing that I tend to like in novels, and that is the magic aspect, but specifically Mare's magic. I do think it's cool that she's a water diviner, that diviners are not very common throughout this world in the Drowned Woods, and so it's very special. I think Mare's powers are really cool. Being able to manipulate water and, and think about it, like water's all throughout your body, so there's a lot of things that she can do. And for the most part, she uses it responsibly. I liked the fact that Mare is a character, they talk about the fact that she can kill a person very easily, and she doesn't like to do it. Like, she will. If, like, she absolutely has to, she will. To save, to save herself or someone else that she cares about. I appreciate the fact that there was an element of ethical values that Mare shows, and then even another character has a power, and they very much are aware of what they could possibly do, and they don't want to hurt other people. So I do like this undertone of just having power comes with great responsibility, as we all know. Thank you, Stanley, for that beautiful line. Great power comes with great responsibility. It is absolutely true, and I appreciate the fact that Mare and another character in the book had that undertone of, I have this power and it's fantastic, but I would rather only ever use it to help people, like Mare helps people find water when they're out in the wilderness. Like, perfect, great use of using your power, fantastic. If my counting is correct, I believe we are on number 7. So number 7 of the things I enjoyed about the Drowned Woods, and that was the element of sacrifice. So again, kind of similar with number 6, which of course was the love for her magic and all that jazz, but going into that element of responsibility, you also have the element of sacrifice that shows up, which again, I appreciate having characters who love that deeply, who portray the fact of, yes, my life is worthy, but is one life worth 200 lives? Is one life worth 30 lives? So you see this more than once in the Drowned Woods, where we do see a person being sacrificed in different ways, not necessarily in death, but in different ways to save a group of people. So it's that ethical dilemma of, is one life worth more? Unfortunately, it's a really hard question to answer, but I like books that make you think about that. Is one life worth sacrificing to save 30 other people, 50 other people, 200 other people? In my eyes, I'd probably say yes. But if that person who needed to be sacrificed was my brother, I don't know if I could say that, or my husband or my best friend. If it was myself, I'd probably say absolutely. It's a really hard ethical dilemma. I like the fact that the Drowned Woods brings that up, and again, more than once, of, do we sacrifice this one person to save a group of people? And from what I can tell from the Drowned Woods, Emily Lloyd-Jones agrees with me in the sense of, yeah, sometimes that sacrifice has to be made, and it's for the better good. And that is what we should be focusing on. So number 8 of what I liked about the Drowned Woods is that I found out something that I did not know, and that is that there's another book that happens in the same universe. So the Drowned Woods you can read entirely by itself. It's a standalone book. However, Emily Lloyd-Jones has another book that happens in the same universe. And I was super excited to find this out, because although this story was continued, I felt like I got to have another dose of the universe. So that is the Bone Houses. So number 8 is the Bone Houses, and that is finding out that I can continue reading stories in this universe. And thankfully it can go in any order. So you can read the Drowned Woods first, or you can read the Bone Houses first. So the Bone Houses was published first. So if you want to go by publication, you can go Bone Houses and then the Drowned Woods. Or if you want to go into order of what happened chronologically in the universe, you would read the Drowned Woods first. So the Drowned Woods does happen before the Bone Houses does. And I did read The Bone Houses directly after The Drowned Woods. I will be having a book review of that, hopefully coming out next week. So the plan, keep your fingers crossed, everyone. So my plan is to try to come out with a book review or book recap at least once a week. Keep your fingers crossed. I'm promising a lot. If I'm unable to, I'm hoping to do every other week at the very least. So just hold on to your hats. I'm hoping I'll have the book review for The Bone Houses out next week, because I would really like to talk about that one, as I had a different experience with The Bone Houses than I did with The Drowned Woods, which is unfortunate, but I was really excited when I finished The Drowned Woods to start The Bone Houses. So that was why I included it as number 8 in the things I liked about The Drowned Woods. And it's because obviously I liked The Drowned Woods enough that I wanted to continue reading from that universe. So it was fantastic. So that is all for why I liked The Drowned Woods. Because it is not part of a series, there will not be a book recap for this book. But those are my 8 out of 10 things that I liked about The Drowned Woods. If you liked The Drowned Woods, please let me know. If you didn't like The Drowned Woods, please let me know. If watching this video has made you want to read The Drowned Woods, let me know. I would love to hear about it and would love to know your experience. Thank you again, everyone, for being here, for being patient with me. I really appreciate it, and I hope to catch you next time. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to do so.